symbol of excellence in sports entertainment.
Right. I got two left hooves. Who on test? Well, since nobody's stepping to me, take me to your cult leader. Take me to your local drug dealer. Take me to the man in the mirror when you stand and deliver with your hand on the trigger. An emotional terrorist. IMMUNE. Never make my enemy public. I'm a private dancer, dancing for money. Do that thing that's funny. I'll make you wanna move. Make you wanna do.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to another edition of Spot Monkey Radio. That's 3 weeks in a row, ladies and gentlemen. That is called a winning streak, for anybody who's paying attention. I am your host, Tony, joined, of course, by my other two lovely hosts, Mike and Malik, in their respective areas. Exactly. Exactly. I hope you guys had a great week. It was very interesting week in wrestling, to say the least.
I can't do this the whole show.
You couldn't do it the first minute.
I know. It seems that we're picking up on the road to WrestleMania or heading into the Elimination Chamber. A lot of things happen, and it's we'll get right into it. Right, we'll start right at Raw, and I'm sure you boys watched last Monday and what was going on over on the Monday night on the Red Brand. Interesting stuff, but we'll start with Malik. Malik,
all right. So here's my initial issue with Raw: the glitching.
Okay.
The constant glitching, and then I didn't watch Raw while it's live because obviously I work. So I went to go watch it after work, and I'm just like, why is it freezing to death? I'm like, what is going on? So I saw what I could from the show. I thought it was a pretty solid and decent show. I'm glad that it didn't glitch on the last closing minutes of what transpired. We'll get there later. But overall, I was just like, okay, good stuff.
Yeah, I didn't think it was bad at all. I mean, from my perspective, I know a lot of people, I don't know how there's such a split between audiences. I mean, I get it. Everyone wants an alternative to watch, but the delusion that they think it's a bad product is mind-blowing to me, because I think it's very good for what it is in terms of, and now I'm talking about WWE. Do they have some bad spots? Yeah, all companies do. But for the most part, I think their bad spots aren't as bad as other companies. So when they do something like that, but I'm not a shill for WWE. I'm just telling you what I've seen in the last month so far, and I think it's a pretty good program. Greco, what say you? You've been watching it as well.
I gotta say, the third. So everyone was going back to 3 hours, too long. And then when it went to 2 hours, it kind of felt like everything was too rushed. Like everything on the 2 hour shows, I felt like there was just too much going on. Yeah. Lately, it's ended pretty much, with the exception of the first week, at that 10:30 mark. It's been ending, and I think that's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm at that point. I'm like, all right, I've had enough of Raw. Time to go to bed. Good time.
Yeah, no, I like I said, now that it's funny because now that they don't have like a hard out, like they'll end at a reasonable time. So like I guess because they had the hard out, whether it's 3 hours or 2 hours, you feel like it's rushed, you feel like it's too fucking long. Well, now they have like basically free range. You want to go 3 hours, go 3 hours. You want to go two, go. Like they end at a respectable time. I noticed that lately at I don't see them longer than 2:40 at the most. 2 hours 40 minutes. Because even SmackDown's 3 hours, and that's hard to.
Yeah.
We'll
get to that later. We'll get
to that later, but we'll start right out.
No, I just want to say I'm not going to go talk about the show. My thing is with SmackDown, I loved and enjoyed it when it was just for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Now that it's 3 hours, the only thing that becomes ridiculous is that people wind up with Undertaker entrances at this point.
Man. It's a little. It's a little bit crazy. I don't know why they do 3 hours. I assume that USA wants a certain amount of time from them, and I don't know if maybe they were supposed to have like a 2 hour program and then another hour program later in the week, and they just said, fuck it, let's just 3 hour SmackDown. We put it all together on Friday.
Yeah, it feels like they were just like, remember Raw was 3 hours? Well, here's the extra hour. Here you go.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Well, and I'm sure, not to be funny, on a Friday night, no one, I don't care what they're showing. They're not getting... any kind of audience for an SVU rerun that people have seen 45 times.
Yeah, that's right.
And people will still watch.
Right. So I'm guessing that from 10 to 11, they're like, you know what? Here's an extra hour. It's probably free money, free advertising for WWE, so might as well just take it.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying, babe. And I think it's a little too late, but I appreciate you pointing it out. As a typo over here on our info sheet.
Yeah, I actually had just texted you that.
Grand Slam. A Grand Slam. I misspelled Grand Slam. But you know what? It's AEW, babe. We're allowed to botch there.
Oh, actually, I sent you about it says 2-3, and today is 2-10.
2:10. Yeah, no, I didn't change the date. He found a second typo. But yeah, so I appreciate you guys pointing that out, by the way.
Yeah, but yeah, Raw.
But let's get back to Raw. The big takeaway, obviously, was Kevin Owens turning on Sami Zayn, and giving him a
look how happy Greco is.
Greco Davis strikes again.
A devastating package.
Give it your Frenchman, Greco. Oh man.
To me, that was the most standout part of Raw. Was that moment? There wasn't that much. Can we just all agree that at this point, Jey Uso will challenge Gunther? I just don't think he's going after Cody. I think the Elimination Chamber has Cody written all over it. The winner fights him. You know what I'm saying? Just by the guys that are in it, you just kind of like, oh, that's fine. No one's gonna. All those top guys aren't fighting to get Gunther. They want Cody. So, I didn't really, like I said, Raw didn't really, in terms of like standout matches, didn't really stand out. But that moment that was a fucking awesome package power driver.
Yeah,
I think we can all agree to that. It was the most tightly. It was perfect. And I was like, oh shit. He lifted up, and then he looked like he was trying to hurt him. Was there any standout moments from Raw aside from that, Malik?
The Jey Uso promo, as emotional as he got, because you could just feel that was real. Mm-hmm. I thought that was something. New Day finally getting a change of theme music and gear, like official gear. I was just like, all right, this is cool. Some other things I try to watch, but glitchy. So hopefully tonight they will have everything fixed, and we'll be good to go to watch tonight.
I will say that was happening live, so that wasn't like anything fucked up. It was annoying at one point, but it's not edited and fixed back either. That's the other thing.
So I don't know. I don't think this was a Netflix problem. I think this might have been a WWE issue.
Oh wow, okay.
Because if it was a Netflix problem, then when they show the replay, they could have taken that out.
Okay, so yeah, they could have fucked up. But yeah, because I noticed it on Monday. I was like, what the fuck's going on here? And I said, this was what people were worried about when they went over to Netflix. With blunders and fuck-ups. And I just hope that was just like an off day.
Am I the only one that thinks that since he won the title in August, this was the first time that Gunther felt relevant as a champion?
Yes.
Like it was his best WWE champion promo that he's had. Yeah. And it's crazy that to think that it finally happens, and now in a couple months he's probably dropping the title.
He ain't gonna be champion no more. But that's why he's dropping the belt, because he's been irrelevant for fucking about how many months. Like, I'm not to say that it's all on him. Like WWE probably just like the thing was, Cody is the main champion,
right?
The North Star.
Whether you want to admit it or not, he's the guy. That's the championship belt. Yeah. So like you were already playing second fiddle. And like, he's a great worker, but like when I see Gunther, I don't see like great promo work or anything like that. I see more like and I don't want to bring this guy's name up, like a Chris Benoit, where he's like really good in the fucking ring. He's he's what he is on the mic. You take it or leave it, but like he gets it done between the bells. Like that's when he really does. We're gonna see how great he is.
Well, that's why for a while when Kaiser was coming out with him doing his entrance and everything, like it worked because like Kaiser was like the buffer.
Am I in the minority to say that he worked better with Imperium with like some lackeys behind him as opposed to just by himself?
I hate that it's still recognized as Imperium with it just being the two of them. Yeah. Some people may or may not know the reason as to why Giovanni Vinci
I read it yesterday.
is no longer with the faction. So that's I guess maybe
with the company actually.
Yeah,
we'll get to that later.
Yeah. So like at this point, I was expecting them to still be like cool and possibly team up, whatever, but still maintain their singles roles, which they are doing. Because Kaiser, as fast as he got dumped out in the Rumble, he got to have a pretty big spotlight when he took on Penta.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think Kaiser getting dumped out like that, guys like us, we look at it differently. We know better. Like him getting dumped out like that isn't him getting shitted on or buried or anything like
No.
that. There's a purpose for you to get. Now you got dumped out like that, so the next night now you have a big match on Raw, and now you did the whole Pete Dunne thing. The only thing I hope. I like Kaiser. I hope they're not putting him and Dunn together unless that's going to be like the new Imperium. Kaiser, Dunn, and then I'm guessing when this guy comes back that used to be Mustache Mountain.
I don't know.
Tyler Bate. I mean, at this point, I can't see them joining up after he did a whole promo trashing Tyler Bate, saying he was weak and whatnot. So, like, to come back to join with him just will make Bate look stupid in my eyes.
Okay, I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
Like I said, for what it was, Raw, like you just said, like Raw's at 2 hours now. It's perfect time. So I think SmackDown should be that same time slot. By the way,
What Tony? What did you call Seth on Monday? I couldn't stop laughing.
The Undertaker wears Prada.
Oh my god!
When he came out, I was like, "What the fuck is he doing? What is this?" And for months now, maybe even years, I've been trying to figure out what exactly the visionary gimmick is, and all I could wrap around it was just fancy dresses. He's a dandy. He's a fancy boy. That's all I saw from it. I'm like, is that what you are? You're the dandy, Seth Rollins. That's what it should be.
How hard was it for Charlotte Flair to cut a promo? By the way,
dude, that's what they do. They refer to as go home heat. They don't care, But here's the thing, and I think, again, I may be in the minority, but I think the time has passed for the 4 horsewomen. I think it's done. Your time in the sun is kind of coming to an end. It's fine to admit it. It's not a big goddamn deal. There's so many. Like, listen, they kicked that door open during that evolution period, right? That women's evolution shit. They kicked the door open. They got all these women in. They made it a respectable and equal footing, right? They have just as many matches for women that they do men now. If not more, thank you very much. They have tag titles. They have an Intercontinental, a US, a war. Like, they did a lot, but it's over now. Like, it's these ladies' time now. Like, you guys, doesn't matter how much plastic surgery you get. It doesn't matter how shredded you get in shape. It's people. The one thing I forgot whose interview I watched, but they said, like, when you leave, your spot it's gone.
Yeah.
And you could try to earn it back, but you're fighting uphill when you come back from an injury. She was gone for a year, right? Basically a year she was gone. And I just think in that time, so many other women had just kind of surpassed her in terms of the over moniker, like a Rhea and all these other people, where, like, by the time you come back, I feel like it's almost like when Austin went out with the neck injury. And by the time he came back, Triple H, all these guys were majorly over, and he had to kind of work his way in. And by that point, I don't want to say the luster of Austin kind of wore off, but he was gone for a year. And by the time he walked back, in a year in pro wrestling is like a fucking
lifetime.
It's an eternity.
Yeah.
And by the time you come back a year later, you ain't in that same position, not even fucking close. Yep. So to come out and cut promos like she's trying to get it out where, like, you hate me and blah. It's, I hate to say, it's hard to watch. It's like, oh wow, what if, like, you kind of see, like, and I again, minority, but when Becky Lynch comes back, I think the same thing. All these people got over while you were gone. You want to leave? That's fine. You get hurt, I understand, but when you come back, man, you ain't in that same. It's not like it used to be, where they hold that spot for you because you're the top person. It's Moneyball in WWE now, and there's 100 superstars now.
Yeah. And look at it. You have people like Io. You have people like Io and Liv weren't bad. Like, that was a pretty good match. I like the ending. I like them doing something. I have a feeling somehow Io is going to wind up facing Rhea at Mania.
Okay.
I think they want to give Rhea more of a match than just like like a her and Charlotte, her and Becky, because it's the same thing over and over.
Over and again, yeah. And
You know,
honestly, I think there's more money between Tiffany Stratton
and Charlotte.
Flair because
Yes.
I feel like it's more prominent on SmackDown. There's more of a parallel between the two. Like you can kind of see similarities between the two. Where like we've seen Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. How many more times are you going to beat that fucking dead horse? You know?
Okay, so I have a question to ask both of you. I understand what it is that you're saying as far as Charlotte's position, and the Four Horsewomen had well over a decade of destruction on the women's division to have done it all. And obviously, it's time for the new girls that have been stepping up to get their shine. But I don't feel like there's much female star power on SmackDown.
That's why I feel like she belongs on SmackDown.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
Charlotte is in that spot for a reason.
Yeah.
The issue is she tried to come out and cut a babyface promo.
Yeah.
And with her legacy, her history, and with who her father is, and we don't even need to add him into the mix. She should have just came out and just been a heel. The problem is that they're still having, when we get to SmackDown, trying to have Tiffany be the villain in the story. And I'm just like, you two are kind of similar too much. And that's where I'm having a hard time with the story. Hopefully things flip around and the fans will figure out who the right person should be in which role.
Well, you know what's funny with Tiffany? If you look at it, like they did everything they can to make her a heel. Like she was the girl you wanted to hate in NXT. She did the whole daddy's girl gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
And like again, organically, because she's not bad in the ring, she cuts a decent promo. People are like, you know what? We kind of like her.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they anoint who they want to be over.
Oh yeah.
And when I saw when she cashed in, I heard the crowd, I said, "Oh, she's over. She's probably going to be the new baby face on SmackDown." And
she's been over for a while now.
Yes, I'm saying. So like, all right, it's a no-brainer. And then when Charlotte cut that, I just like I said that awful promo, and I immediately saw it on Raw. I just thought to myself like, "Oh, she's the heel. She's going to challenge this Tiffany girl because it makes sense." Because they turned her babyface, she's over now, and now at least in my mind, that's what I'm just going by the eye test, right?
Mm.
And clearly, nobody likes you anymore. They're kind of over. Charlotte's going to be heel. The crowd would rather cheer Tiffany. Listen, that's probably true, man. Though, like I said, I think we're getting to that point now. Like I said, with a foot. I mean, look, think about it. Bayley is going on every show now and trying to wrestle all the upcoming stars. It seems like we're trying to work programs with them or something, trying to help them get ready for like the main thing. I think she's going to become like that. That like what's that role that some of the legends get into it? They put people over, like John Cena, for instance. Right now, John Cena is at that role where you're like, oh, he's just gonna sign off on a lot of young talent because he needs to hand it off to them because he's gonna retire.
I think you meant Charlotte.
No, John Cena. Because like think about it, John Cena put over.
Oh no! He said what I'm reading here says Tiffany needs to do the right thing and put Tiffany over at Mania. I think he meant Charlotte, so that's what I'm saying.
I think
you know who I think has been the perfect person for that role? He accepted it. He's gotten his ups and has then gone back to the middle. Is Sami Zayn.
I like Sami Zayn. Yeah, I think
Sami Zayn has been the ultimate team player. He has done everything they asked. And let me tell you, I will sit here. I was the first person when he fought Johnny Knoxville at WrestleMania. I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. And friend of the show and all of our puns sat there and said, did he have a match on the card? I said, yeah. He goes, then what does it matter?
That's it. He was on WrestleMania. Probably got
and if you look at it, after that match is when everything started with him with the bloodline and all this other stuff. I hope with this whole thing with Zayn and Owens, I don't know if they're gonna wait till Mania to do this. I think you do this at Elimination Chamber, and I would go as far to make it the main event.
Well, okay, so everybody has brought that up to my attention, and I said, no, I disagree. It needs to be saved for Mania. The reason why I say that is you had two pandemic Manias. You had one without an audience and one with not even really full. They want to give them that Mania moment that they deserve.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
Do you then at that point do you let them have like the
brawl,
the fight without honor match?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And also I would let them brawl at Elimination Chamber. I mean, you know,
Okay,
Kevin Owens comes out in Canada
maybe
and
do something. Owens comes out to cut a promo, and Zayn just runs out, and they just start going at it.
Yes, I'm hoping that I'm right in this situation because I'm Negro down this. That it happens that way.
I mean, they had a brawl a couple years ago. I forget what pay-per-view it was on. It was like two years ago. They had some kind of last man standing or something.
Well, I'll say this, man. I don't even remember those pandemic manias. So to me, like, this is fresh. As crazy as that sounds, So they're gonna be in front of what we would say at least 80,000 people in Vegas.
Yeah,
right? At least. So give them the match that they've been. Like you said, Sami Zayn has been a great team player, and you always notice that the team players are the ones that always get the top spots later on, like the ones that get beat up. Like when Jey Uso was literally just like a doormat for Roman Reigns in 2020, I saw it then. Like, I was like, oh, this guy, he can go, and I think he's just eating his shit right now because it's just the time to eat the shit. But eventually, they're gonna feed this guy steak because of all the shit he ate, and you see it now. They're starting to feed him the steak. He's gonna win the title. Is he going to be an over champion? I think so. How long does the shtick last? We don't know. And I always notice their barometer is SummerSlam. If by SummerSlam you ain't kind of doing it for them, they take the belt off you. But I'm happy he's going to get his moment. He's obviously going to get his moment at WrestleMania, and I'm happy to see because he put the work in. Now, Sami Zayn, same thing. I'm like I said, Triple H. I got to my cat, man. He's making shit interesting. Yes. Where like these guys have been WWE for years. Let's not like act like Sami Zayn, Owens, and all these people.
Sami Zayn was there 8 years ago when we were at Mania. That was his first Mania.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like these guys have been here for years, and for 8 years, you really never really felt like I gotta watch this Sami Zayn match until he was teaming up with Owens to fight the Bloodline for the tag titles last year. That was the first time I was like, I can't wait to see this. Like, and now this is the first time I've ever praised Kevin Owens. Like I never like I guess who the fuck am I? I get it, but like I just never saw what everybody saw, and now I see it, and it's like it's got to be the compelling writing. I know it's.
And what they've done well with Zayn is like, and he said it like, he had his main event match at WrestleMania with his best friend, and then he got his world title match in his hometown, and it's never about winning. Like that's what I think a lot of like these guys don't get either. Like that watch, like, oh, they didn't win, it doesn't mean nothing. No, it's you had the moment of being in front of your crowd, in front of your fans, and that's all that matters to these guys. And that's why I think what Malik just said, that he beat me to the punch at POS. That if Owens comes out, starts cutting a promo, and you have Zayn just come through the crowd and attack him, because they did the whole thing already that Sami Zayn's going to be out an unclosed amount of time.
Yeah,
understood. Yeah, so was saying it was something's gonna happen with Owens talking shit or in a match, and all of a sudden he's gonna hit the ring, and the crowd's gonna go bananas, and then they're gonna make the match at WrestleMania, street fight or something crazy where they gotta end this bullshit finally once and for all.
Give them like 5-6 minutes at Elimination Chamber where they start brawling through the crowd, and then you do a crazy spot where they go off a fucking scaffolding or something.
Yeah, that'll probably be the big like I always refer to it as the gimmick match at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that could be Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, Hell in a Cell, street fight, or some crazy. It could be great between them two. Like I said, Triple H is lining this WrestleMania up already. They're not even at Elimination Chamber, and he's lining it up to a point where you're like, I'm excited. Like I can't wait to get to Elimination Chamber, but I really can't wait for WrestleMania. And it's only getting better as we heat up, because what I noticed, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but every program ended with a heel standing over a face. So at the end of Raw, it was Zayn. It was Kevin Owens standing over Zayn. On NXT, it was the guy standing over Trick Williams, if I'm not mistaken.
Eddie Thorpe.
SmackDown, and we'll get to SmackDown now. Was the return of Solo Sikoa. He came out and he beat the shit out of Cody Rhodes.
Now hold on 1 second. Before we go there, I just wanted to get your guys' word on this. AJ Styles has been moved from SmackDown
to Raw.
Over to Raw. And the first thing that you see right after that vignette is Braun Breaker. The two Georgia boys possibly going at it. How do you guys feel about that? This I think will actually help put Braun Breaker in the right direction while being Intercontinental Champion.
I think Braun Breaker needs those kind of matches.
I agree.
He needs top marquee matches to solidify himself as a worker.
He needs a couple of matches like he did the Sheamus thing, the brawling thing, which they were good. But now he needs a couple, like when he had the matches with Dolph, that's when I was finally like, oh, okay, I see it in Breaker because I didn't see it in him at all. But I think a guy like AJ will slow him down, will give him the kind of match that he needs to have.
Yes.
Yeah, and you listen. This is AJ's. We're talking about John Cena runs, the retirement run. AJ's coming to the end of his rope as well. He's on that back line. He's on probably hole 17 at this point, right?
I think this is his last or second to last year, probably.
I think he's got this. I think he's got this year and like half of next year on the contract left.
Yeah.
So I think he's just kind of fulfilling it, and then he's probably going to be done.
But back to Greco hearing about the great Solo Sikoa, because his face said it all.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem with Solo because I've actually come to like Solo. My problem is Cody getting sucked right back into the vortex of the bloodline.
Okay. I think they just want to give Cody a match at Elimination Chamber. At this point, they just want him on the card and I think they just need a match for him. Solo's there. I'm interested to see the dynamic between Solo and Jacob Fatu now.
Survivor Series was in Canada when it passed.
No, the year before. Oh no, the year before was Chicago. Yeah, this was Canada, I think.
Yeah.
So you didn't get a Cody match. Now you get your Cody match at Elimination Chamber as it's in Canada.
Yeah.
So would we probably see, especially after what happened, would we possibly see now Cody and Jay taking on Solo and Jacob?
Maybe.
Possibly.
Yeah. Do you think that they turn Jacob face?
No.
The crowd
especially with his promos.
The crowd is starting to get into it. I'm noticing they're starting to like those promos. They're starting to like that theme song. They're starting to like the wrestling style. I'm telling you, if it doesn't happen by SummerSlam, I think they're going to turn him face.
It just can't be anytime soon.
No.
I see it already though. You can already see it. Like he's already the seeds have already been planted with the crowd. The audience likes it. They like the presentation of his angle and gimmick. And I think it's only a matter of time before they fully embrace it and you start hearing that crowd go bananas when they hear that.
Here was my only issue when it came to him with SmackDown is you did the thing at Saturday Night Main Event where he destroys Braun, and then at Rumble Braun comes back and throws him out. So we did this week, and there was no Braun, and he was just into another angle now with Cody or bloodline stuff.
I was very stuck on the fact that Braun was just able to kind of get his payback by eliminating Jacob Fatu, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then, from what I understand, is why is it that nobody on Raw gets to have a triple threat qualifying match to go into the men's elimination chamber? Why is it only SmackDown? So you're gonna have Braun Breaker, Braun Strowman, who ran into Damian Priest where they spoke about it, and I'm thinking, oh, it's going to be the two of them one-on-one. No, Jacob Fatu is also in that match.
Involved, yeah.
So I'm just like, this is not fair.
Who do you think is going to win that? I think Priest, obviously, right? Damian Priest?
Priest has the pin Strowman.
I would say Priest, and that's the reason why it's a triple threat, because you don't want... Like, Braun can take a loss and nobody will care, but you don't want Jacob or Priest taking a loss right now.
Mm-hmm.
No, and I think maybe just as crazy as this sounds, it made it just like so everybody looks strong. Braun and Fatu just kind of like do something crazy, like a crazy spot.
Yeah.
And get taken out of the match.
They take themselves out, and Priest just kind of capitalizes on it. That's what I kind of see happening. I like where they're going with it. I like the qualifying match. Look at you.
It's not my comment. It's a comment on another video.
Oh, my wife left such a great comment in the private chat. I'm going to ask you boys. She says, "Do you think some of these cuts have been made to kind of make room for Zilla Fatu, who people are starting to speak very highly of?"
No.
Here's
my thing.
We'll get to the cuts.
Yeah.
I hear the name all the time, and I can't sit here and say that I've watched a full match of this guy.
Zilla Fatu.
At the same time, while hearing about Jacob Fatu, I never saw a full match of his. But from highlights, you're like, oh, this guy needs to be signed somewhere.
Yeah.
Zilla Fatu doesn't do that for me.
Yeah.
I've seen
all I've seen from Zilla Spatu is he does the Superman Superman Spike. Yeah.
We filmed him, right? We filmed Zilla at House of Glory. He was there one time. And I saw the ability. Listen, the one thing about the Samoans is they're bred to either be football players or pro wrestlers. It's one or the other. So, like, you could see the ability. I saw the ability and I saw the marketability because he was in good shape. He had a good look about him. And I'm like, all right, I could see. But currently, they have so many Samoans that are over at this point. I understand they all want the whole family there, and I get it. But, like, I just don't know. You have so many. Where would he fit in at this point? The bloodline is kind of like done now in terms of like that story in general. So where do you fit him in? He would just have to come up through the ranks as just another Samoan wrestler. Did they obviously the people they cut? They literally hold no bearing on what's going on in the story. That's really we can all agree upon that. We'll get to that in a second. But I don't think so. I don't think they made room for him. If they're going to make room for him, they're just going to sign him.
They're just going to sign him, yeah.
Sign him and see where it goes and see what happens. So
we were saying about the triple threat matches.
Yeah.
Did we see a little heat there or a little
when McIntyre smacked the hell out of LA Knight in the back of the head and LA Knight responded with a smack of his own and they started going at it, I was like, what's going on here?
Well, okay, so right before that, I don't know if you saw it, a Knight kicks McIntyre in the top of his head. Like he gives him a stiff shot. So that's why McIntyre got up and started getting hit him with the foot.
I definitely missed that.
Knight hits him with a kick. I don't know if it was like a front kick or like a side kick, and he catches McIntyre. He gets stiff with him.
I want to point out, and babe, I'm sorry, I don't mean to throw you under the bus here, but I said to my wife, I said, LA Knight is going to take the pin from Drew McIntyre because they got to kind of like put him in his place a little bit for doing what he did at the Rumble, and they just kind of want to give Drew his just due, right? So my wife goes, I think he's going to pin the other guy. And I said, I will bet you a blowjob that Drew McIntyre pins LA Knight. And she says, you're on. And needless to say, boys, I got my stuff. All right. I got my stuff in, if you will. But she pointed it out when she saw them kind of like fumble onto the floor after that little smack thing, and she was like, is that real? Is that legit? And I said, I think there might be a little animosity there, so they might be working a little stiff at this point because they're kind of a little frustrated with each other. But I read that they said Drew McIntyre didn't have a problem with what he said. He doesn't have any issue with him anymore.
Yeah, it's done. It's over. That's how professionals do it. I got my shot. You got your shot. We move on.
Yeah, it was receipts. We're done. Let's move on. Yeah.
Jimmy came in with the headbutt to stop everyone and calm everybody down.
Yeah.
And that's it.
So I'm just gonna bring up some quick results from SmackDown. Bianca Belair qualified for the women's Elimination Chamber match after she defeated Piper Niven.
Again.
Katana Chance and Kaden Carter are now a part of SmackDown. So we'll see what these diminutive chicks can do. Carmelo Hayes interrupted that segment and was told he's going to get another opponent. And he wasn't down for it because he had Braun Strowman and he had Damian Priest. And in comes
Tozawa.
Akira Tozawa. The thing that blew my mind is that they gave him a competitive match.
Yeah.
That even had a commercial break. Tozawa never gets those kinds of matches, ever.
No, but
usually he's in quick squashes. And, of course, Carmelo Hayes won.
Wait. Just to hold that thought 1 second before you continue. Here's why I was okay with it. Because Carmelo Hayes cost Tozawa a spot in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
He cost him a spot at a spot in WrestleMania. So I'm okay with this, even though it's Tozawa and he's always considered to be a joke. I'm only okay with it because he's fighting for, like, not to be funny, he's fighting for his honor.
Yeah.
All right. Do It Yourselves came out to gloat about still retaining their tag team titles after 2 out of 3 falls, and they were interrupted by Pretty Deadly.
Yes, boy.
Put in an impromptu tag match, and you have no idea who won. Pretty Deadly actually won a match.
Yeah.
And God knows how long it's been since they've actually won a match. Obviously stated Drew McIntyre qualified for the Chamber. He's in there with Punk and Cena now. Kevin Owens spoke about how selfish Sami Zayn is, how disgusting he is, how he just sat there and allowed Cody to do everything, and he's going to still come back and harm him, no matter what. Kevin is really, yes, it was.
That was a good ass promo. Yeah.
You know
who else cut a good ass promo?
Who?
The Street Profits.
Oh yeah, that was a good segment too.
That was a very good. That was your favorite segment. Yeah, my wife popped hard for that.
We finally got the face-to-face of Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair.
Mm-hmm.
At the beginning of the show, we had Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes. If I was Obafemi, I'd be offended.
Yeah,
Charlotte Flair went to Raw, went to NXT, and she's already on SmackDown. Jey Uso's too good to show up to fight for the NXT Championship. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'll give you. You know what?
Even The Undertaker showed up when Bobby Lashley was the ECW champion.
I'll give you something crazy. Exactly what you're saying. What I would do tonight on Raw, I'd have Oba attack Jey.
I wouldn't say so much attack, but I could see maybe Jay's out there cutting a promo with Gunther, and Oba comes out and goes, "What do you? Am I not good enough for you? Or what do we? Blah, 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 blah." Like Charlotte, like you just said, Charlotte Flair showed up to kind of threaten Julia. Why didn't you come and look at me? You afraid of me? Are you ducking me? And then Jay's about, I ain't ducking nobody. Oos, I'll fight you tonight. And then they have some match tonight. But I mean, they should do that. Put a little bit of respect on Obafemi's name because you got.
But neither one of them can lose.
That's the thing.
You have a smosh. You have a bunch of things happen.
You have Gunther come out, clothesline Jay, beat the shit out of Jay, and then Jay now is officially like, I'm coming after your ass for WrestleMania. And so now Oba doesn't look weak. He didn't lose to anybody, and he can take the belt back to NXT. Like he had a very respectable showing against the Royal Rumble winner. You didn't know if Jay could have beaten him, so maybe that's why Jay isn't challenging him. Mm-hmm. He knows that he feels that he can beat Gunther, but Oba's an uncharted territory that he's never really, because he's an NXT guy. So, and
I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm gonna finish as fast as you can. Go ahead. Continue.
I just think that would be a great way to highlight NXT as well. Yeah. You want people to go over there and watch? That'd be a great way to highlight it.
Alexa Bliss defeated Candice LeRae. Someone I think should have been a race. Candice LeRae. Chelsea Green and Naomi have a qualifying match for the Women's Elimination Chamber that takes place next week.
Yeah.
She's got all types of challengers coming after her still. She's got Kayfabe or BFAB. She's got Mia Yim, and she's also got now Zelina Vega all gunning for a United States Championship.
Multi-woman
match at WrestleMania for that belt, for sure.
The Street Profits are obviously plotted. Every time, by the way, when I write down things, I put it as do-it-yourselves. I do not put DIY.
Good.
It's legit. I have it written down. Do-it-yourselves. Street Profits, obviously, we may mention they plan on getting their revenge on both the Street, not on themselves, but on Motor City Machine Guns and do-it-yourselves. Motor City Machine Guns had a promo. They were interrupted by Legado del Fantasma. There's a tag team match there set for next week. Angel Alberto against the Machine Guns. And
Angel and Berto will be without their manager, who was on SmackDown, but then shortly released after.
Yeah.
Well, we have one Spanish valet. We don't need two. But that's the thinking. Listen, no, I'm not saying that. Come on, guy. But what I'm saying is that's what it's like.
I get it.
And Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso defeated Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga, which obviously the return of Solo.
Yeah, Solo. And I will say this: you just that's what you just said before. It was funny. They only have one. They need another. I said the same thing when the Street Profits came back. And I see the tattoo on the one dude. I'm like, well, that's why they got rid of Ricochet, because now they just replaced him.
That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing.
And now that I think that we are officially done with SmackDown, we can move over to AEW Dynamite. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get super in depth on AEW Dynamite. So let me just run you through the top of the show real quick.
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Jay White is being. Go ahead.
I said to my wife before you fire off, I said we got to watch AEW. She went, again? Go ahead.
Thank God I don't have to take trips to Sarasota no more because fuck's sake, I got nothing else to watch in a hotel room. It's painful.
Jay White was being interviewed as he's walking into the building by Renee Young, and he's talking about the Death Riders, and then BAM! The Death Riders appear. And he's like, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And they had no clue that coincidentally who's behind them, Cope and FTR. And they got into a big brawl that probably lasted for the better part of 20 minutes. Who cares?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much the first 20 minutes of the show.
I was doing something Wednesday, so we missed.
No, you didn't miss it. No. You take these things as blessings.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Mark Davis had a very good showing. He was the mystery opponent for Will Ospreay from the Don Callis family. Mark Davis is a solid worker. There's nothing really special about him, but he had a good match. The Hurt Syndicate.
Oh, wait, hold on before you move on from there, because I would like to talk about something real quick on that note. Kenny Omega comes out and cuts a promo again because we have to do promos after every match, and it's AEW. And then out of nowhere gets like a 30-second pyro like extravaganza.
Yeah. That was weird.
That made no sense at all.
Funny because even at the end he was like, that scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't see that coming at all.
The best is he said that this would be his AEW return match. I was like, buddy, you wrestled Brian Cage a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
I was like, he's drunk.
You know how we know that? Because we did that stupid live watch along with it.
I know. We had to subject ourselves.
I probably was drunk for stating that we should do that. Also, the Hurt Syndicate, these fine, beautifully dressed African-American males, your AEW World Tag Team Champions, come out, and they're open to taking on all challenges. And then comes the Guns, members of the Bang Bang Gang, who are not helping Jay White, apparently, in his issues with the Death Riders, but are in their quest to come back for AEW Tag Team Championship Gold. I believe this will take place on March 9th at their, Revolution pay-per-view?
Yeah, Revolution.
That hasn't been officially set. Harley Cameron finally got her first victory on Collision, the show that nobody watches. And she's still challenging.
Can I just say about the Guns? They look great.
Oh, yeah, they do.
And
that
probably
was such a dumb way to bring them back, though. Like, they go in the ring and like the way they set that tag team matchup with the Hurt Business. I just feel like
Hurt Syndicate.
You're right. I just feel like they're setting a lot of these other teams up for like failure, like they did to Private Party, where you're just kind of feeding them to these two guys, and these guys are going to beat the shit out of the Guns. Like it's hard because Bobby Lashley is such like he's such an established name at this point where you just automatically assume that they're going to beat the shit out of these two guys just like they did Private Party and whoever else the fuck they want until like the Bucks come back or somebody else comes back that they want to be their tag champions. There's no like, we're going to build this correctly. And I have this weird sneaky suspicion. We keep bringing up the releases. Obviously, we have.
Oh, I was just going to say it. Go ahead.
Cedric Alexander at some point is going to just come out and be on the thing now. And
I could see them having Lashley just give him the belt
and fight for the world title.
Some people are disputing that just a little bit. Some people may not know this, but his wife used to be employed there, Big Swole. I don't think that would be an issue now because it's been 4 years later, and that's a dead issue. So, like, if Tony wants to do business and he'll be smart, he'll bring in Cedric Alexander.
Before we continue, my lovely wife brought up. She sent me a link here to this wonderful story where Kenny Omega even admits, and like I said, he was surprised by his own pyro going on.
Thank you, Dominic.
This is how ass backwards the company is. The guy comes out. He comes out to cut a promo. You would think Tony Khan would be like, "Hey, listen, at some point we're gonna set off some pyro for you to do it." And no, they just let him go out. He cut because I saw him jump. He did this when the fucking fireworks were. He didn't even expect it.
Wait. But what's great is it's not like this is just a random guy in the company. This is one of your EVPs.
I can't. Dude. How does one actually watch AEW? Pick up on anything interesting? Logic says you'd be asleep 20 minutes. Oh, yeah.
Hold on a second. The next thing I'm about to make mention, one of the top 5 people in AEW that's very entertaining, Harley Cameron, with a Mercedes Monet puppet. Obviously, just mocking Mercedes Monet and still throwing out the challenge, which Mercedes Monet will obviously continue to decline. But of course, later on Collision, she accepts. Yeah. Because I don't really feel like going through Collision after watching it.
No,
hologram came back.
Like I said, Collision, I really don't.
I just know because of Instagram.
That was the first show. Here's the thing. I watched 3 shows back to back to back. I believe I watched Collision first, which made me want to fall asleep. Yeah. I rewatched NXT because I didn't remember it. And then I watched TNA. I was all right. I was like, I have to be prepared for the show. You never know what we're going to discuss.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So there. Hangman Adam Page had a promo, and he's got issues now with Max Caster. They'll eventually have a match at some point. Do you care to comment on that?
That was a funny promo, though. When Max Caster was sitting, he's like, "I'm just waiting for my turn. I'm just waiting to cut my promo. You came over here and you interrupted me." And then he's like, "I'm gonna go stand over here." He's like, "Well, I'm gonna go follow you." It was funny. And my wife just said, "Do you really think that Harley Cameron is? I don't think she's interesting. I think she's over."
I
think she's at a point now where she got a puppet over.
Yes.
I think you're over. The crowd is cheering. You're over. It's just the way it is. Yeah.
So you make mention of that promo taking place. Well, I've made mention of it of Hangman and Max Caster, right? Yeah. So we have a full-blown tag team match that takes place. We got Kyle Fletcher and Konosuke Takeshita representing Don Callis family to defeat the Hounds of Hell, Brody King and Buddy Matthews. That's out of the way. We have another segment where Samoa Joe and Hook attack.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to
Go ahead.
jump in.
Go ahead.
Why is Buddy Murphy in a tag match
Matthews
against who are they against again?
Don Callis family.
Don Callis family. When he's got in a feud with Okada.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started on that botch where they played his theme.
Whose theme?
They played Okada's theme when Buddy was doing something, and he just stares and he's staring at the entrance, and nothing is going on. And the other guy who was supposed to kind of jump on top of him before the theme song stopped playing didn't, because it was like all over the place. They didn't realize what the fuck was going on. And I was just like, what the fuck? Is Buddy Matthews only fighting him because they're in Australia? I assume that's the only reason he's fighting him, right? Yeah, the booking is so fucking stupid. But hold on a sec.
You fucking mark!
Because he's got to like make sure that all the Australian guys have the whatever are on the card.
Yeah, Buddy Murphy's on the card. Harley Cameron's on the card. Fletcher's
Harley
on the card.
Cameron's Australian?
I think so.
I didn't know.
Yeah, she said that. That's why she's been pushing for this whole thing, because it's in her hometown or near her hometown.
Oh.
Well, when she winds up like the British Bulldog up against Shawn Michaels in '97, one night only, that'll be that.
And can we just say, just armchair booking? Like, we know she finally got her first win. You could have done all this without her getting a win and had Sasha turn around and Mercedes turn around and say, you know what? I'm going to give you a match, but you don't deserve a title match. And you could have let Harley Cameron get her first win in Australia. And then at Revolution, she gets her big rematch for the title, and Mercedes just fucking squashes her.
Okay, so I'm going to ask both of you the same question. What's your favorite part about AEW Grand Slam Australia? And then I'll give you mine at the end.
The credits.
Okay. Yours, Greco?
Honestly, I want to see the what do you call it? The match with. I do want to see Okada and Matthews.
Okay. Here's my favorite part. We just completed Super Bowl Sunday, right? What do we get afterwards? We get the NBA All-Star Weekend. Yeah. Guess what time the show comes on?
Right after.
Nobody fucking knows.
We don't know.
Wow, really?
Yes.
Why?
Yes.
Why do we need to be subjected to this?
Right. When you now have a streaming platform that you love to boast about. So you can very easily say, for our fans that watch us on Max, the show will be starting at 10 p.m. And for our fans that don't have it, you could catch it at the end of the NBA All-Star Weekend.
Isn't that insane?
That's very insane.
They never put up a time for this the entire time. And it wasn't until this past Saturday we're like, you can catch it after the all. I was like, nah, bro, you're not doing this to me.
And I love how they're touting that, oh, it was never supposed to be a pay-per-view. You fucking liars. You don't piss into the wind and tell me it's raining, okay?
No,
like, come on.
This has been spoken about since probably last summer. So,
Yes.
like, how do you not know?
Now, I
Like,
just want to point out, Nico Tron has made a great point here about your Titeshka. Will always be take a shit time.
I like Takeshka.
Every time they say Titeshka, Nico Trons, I think they're sneezing, so I just always say God bless you.
all right, so I'm gonna wrap this up.
Go ahead,
Samoa
finish
Joe
this
and
up.
Hook,
Go ahead.
Samoa Joe and Hook attack Kip Sabian and Buddy Wayne. Christian Cage obviously was basically hiding. That was a funny segment for me.
I agree.
Just see that Christian was just like, no, I'm not with the shits. Let them
Man.
get their ass up.
He's hiding.
And he's like, what happened?
Yeah, he's hiding with Mama Wayne. I thought that was pretty good.
So all of this stuff takes place, right? And I'm saying to myself, MJF is out there to cut a promo, but he's interrupted by Hangman's music because Max Caster's in the ring and interrupts him. You mean to tell me you've been chasing this man for the better part of like 30 to 40 minutes? While all these other things, while you had a full-blown match happen in the ring, now you still couldn't catch him?
Wait. We've moved on from Jeff Jarrett and now went to Dustin Rhodes.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Hey,
Which Dynamite...
Can we just take a second? Can we just take a second to call out Dustin Rhodes' bootleg version of Last Resort, his theme song?
Oh my god!
Wait a minute. Did you realize that the intro sounds like the Goldust theme at the beginning?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
I did. Yeah,
Guys,
even the Titantron had like the way Dustin, the way that shit came together was just like Goldust. Yeah,
it may as well have been a Shattered Dreams production.
Facts. Yeah,
you
facts.
realize, and I'm sure there's still more on your sheet here, Malik, that we just broke down one episode. We're still breaking down one episode of Dynamite. Not 6 weeks, one episode.
One episode.
MJF and Rhodes got into a big brawl. He kicked them in the balls like he does everybody, and they're going to have a match tomorrow night because Dynamite will be on Tuesday. Which was even better because guys were cutting promos, kept saying Wednesday night. Well, whatever. They don't know what's what. Neither does Tony Khan. Timeless Tony Storm came out as the glamour Mariah May and defeated Queen Amanada.
Can I just say Tony Storm looked amazing?
Can you highlight that comment? Can you star that one? Tony Khan is so cringe. Like,
I gotta say, she could have pulled off if she walked into a room and you didn't know it was Tony Storm. You would have been like, oh shit, that's Mariah May, and it's like, no.
Here's my thing. I'll just touch on that real quick with that. I think that this is like a couple of months too late. I think all of this shit should have been done weeks ago when she had first turned back and like kind of did some stuff with this woman. I don't really watch enough of AEW, but like when I tell you I couldn't give a tiny rat's ass when that whole thing happened, I'm just like, what is going on here? Like, she had this weird gimmick where she was in black and white, and it was over, because it was so over that you couldn't even. It was in the feeds. It was all over the news feeds, all the rest of the feeds, right? So you're like, she's so over. They shit can the gimmick. They put her back in her Tony Storm stuff. She gets smacked around by this woman, then to all of a sudden stand up and go, "I've been this one the whole time," and now you're coming out dressed as this one because you're fighting her at Grand Slam. I assume, is that what's going on? She's fighting Grand Slam.
Yes, Grand Slam. Yes.
Which I would expect that to be. If that's not the main event, then it's going to be the Brisbane Brawl, which is Cope and Jay White teaming up against Claudio and Jon Moxley.
No, I think Omega and Ospreay are going to be the main event.
And listen, I don't want to be this guy, but I'm starting to see. I watched I don't know if this promo was on Wednesday or on Collision. Or maybe Malik, you can help me here. But Renee talked to Yuta. Did you see that? And he was talking about how Jon Moxley saved him and whatnot.
Was that the promo from last week?
That could have been
the week before. The week before
could have been. I just happened to see it a couple days ago, and all I thought to myself was, are they trying to make Jon Moxley like a low rent Roman Reigns and like the Death Riders are like the bloodline? Is that what I'm trying to gather from it?
I have something I forgot about. I want to bring up. Just go back to the start of the show 1 second. When they do this whole brawl in the parking lot, why does Marina Shafir throw Renee Paquette over her shoulder and go running off with her?
Oh,
Like
I
she
know.
just kidnapped her in like an 80s
I can answer
movie.
that question because she's John Moxley's wife, and Moxley gave her strict orders to get her out of Dodge because she can't get hurt.
But
That's the first thing.
Moxley doesn't know that they're about to be attacked.
I know, but Moxley probably
That's her. Okay,
That's
fine.
why you gave her the strict rules. If anything goes down, you get Renee out of Dodge. Like that.
Okay, Greco.
What I noticed was as soon as the shit started happening, Marina Shafir looked right at Renee and just picked her up, ran her right out of the thing. Yeah, I did notice that.
Like dastardly.
I'll rate you. Now I can't unsee it. Put the hat on her and everything. I can't unsee it.
Fucking Wheeler Yutas chasing behind him like Muttley laughing.
All right.
Okay,
So I raise you one.
Mm.
Why hasn't Roderick Strong approached his wife about any of what she's doing?
Good question.
For months, I'm just like, you cool with this? For her being handcuffed to a briefcase?
It would be a funny ass promo if like Roderick Strong sees her in the locker room, he's like, "Where the fuck have you been?
What do you do at night? Like, why are you always with these guys?"
Hey, we haven't had a date night in months.
This comment is brilliant. My favorite part of AEW is now that thanks to you guys, I don't have to watch it. Oh my god,
Roll keeper, I'm glad we can spare you.
Yeah. Oh my god.
At this point now, I like to watch it because I like seeing her reaction.
All right. The last two things that transpired, the learning tree, Chris Jericho was out there cutting a promo when Powerhouse Hobbs music hits as he went to go out to get his revenge on all three men, and then out came the Outrunners. Mm-hmm. And they got into a whole big brawl. The main event featured, which this match should have taken place weeks ago, but they waited until it was Atlanta, City of Blacks, blah, blah, blah. Ricochet defeated Swerve Strickland in the post-match. He stole the robe that is more so synonymous with with a Georgia boy, Jimmy Rave. Jimmy Rave. Yeah. So there's
what you're saying is it would be almost like a pirate stealing someone's leather jacket. And
By the way, this year makes 30 years for that to have transpired.
Just saying.
Okay.
Just saying.
Jean-Pierre Lafitte.
If they should have just had PCO come out and do it then.
Oh my god.
My wife just sat over here and was doing the na-na dance. It was pretty funny. And like I said, if you can't tell that the only reason that guy's over is because of that dance, this layman that doesn't watch pro wrestling.
Listen, she has a swerve when she drives too.
Exactly. Oh man, great rap song by the way. It's a good song.
Listen, Ricochet. I read a thing a couple days ago. They I don't know, some of these AEW marks. I would love to take a second to try to get into their heads and to see what they see. They were talking about like this is Ricochet's best work of his career. They finally using him right. So these are people saying this stuff, and I'm just like, it made no sense. It was confusing. I don't get when he. I don't know about you guys, but when he got grabbed by Bobby Lashley by the face, I felt like that was it for Ricochet. There was nothing. I was like, well, yeah, you just. And now he's like this weird bad guy that stabs people with scissors. I don't know. I don't get it.
I'm going to be honest with you. I would prefer this than anything else that he's done in the last 2 or 3 years.
Well, here's and maybe you'll agree with this, is when I look at him, my wife loves Charles Mason. I don't know if anybody you guys know about Charles Mason, the guy who's the serial killer. My wife continuously says Ricochet's stealing from Charles Mason because he's stabbing people with the scissors and stuff like that. You should have look at that. Look at you little mark.
We have a button for that.
You fucking mark.
But I feel like he plays the pussy bad guy really well, and I'm like, okay, they might. Did they save his career? I really don't think his career was ever in the toilet to begin with. I don't.
No,
Really think,
no.
I think that they might have.
He needed something fresh.
It's like when
Right.
Cody. It's like when Cody left and he dyed his hair blonde and became what he eventually would become. I'm not going to say Ricochet's going to have that same path, but I think Ricochet, and I've said this. I think I said this on our watch along. He needed to get the fuck away from WWE because he needs to try something new. He needs to
fresh coat of paint.
Yeah, so I'm believing that if WWE kind of sees like this like pussy bad guy thing and they kind of like it, maybe it could lead to him coming back. Like, let's bring you back. We didn't realize that you could have a good heel run in you. I feel like they thought that he was a career babyface by the way he presented himself.
And what guys have gotten very smart too, and only if like they have a real bad falling out, nobody talks bad about the company anymore.
Yeah.
You know, they kind of just leave on their own. Yeah, I wasn't happy with where my career was going, trajectory, all that stuff. And that's it. It's no longer, oh, fuck that place. It's terrible. I don't want to be there. No, because everyone knows that the door will always be open.
Well, you know why? It's because the last guy who talked all that shit is now back at WWE. So it's like, man, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you know, don't talk shit and they'll open the door quicker.
Yeah.
The reason it took 10 years is because all that shit you were talking. If you weren't
also with Vince there and everything. I think if Vince is still there, he's not there.
No, but I here's the thing. No, I disagree because I think he just wanted to shove it in Tony Khan's face at that point.
At that point, bite your tongue and just
when he tells Tony Khan this place is a joke, you're a fucking you suck or whatever. At this point, like I believe that he totally called up whether it was agent, whoever the fuck it was that was handling the contract. He was like, I want to go to WWE, make it fucking happen.
Yeah,
because I'm going to shove it in these fucking idiots' faces that they had something special here,
and they dropped the ball
and they fucked it up. Yeah. And listen, that was the most in-depth AEW breakdown we've ever done on this show so far. 3 weeks in, it's nice. Will let me ask you this question because you brought it up, so I'm going to ask you now: do you want to do the watch along still for Grand Slam and Vengeance Day? That's this.
Okay, so sadly, well, because now after watching 2 AEW shows back to back this weekend, I can't do it due to work. So
okay,
that's out. Unless we were to do a watch along the next day or something like that with one of the shows, there's an idea there. If anybody's not doing anything on Sunday,
we could always do stuff like that where maybe like the next day you break it down.
Yeah,
kind of go through it. But listen,
I can't believe I took probably a half an hour just discussing AEW.
I'm out for that this weekend.
I think I'm getting a high.
If we want to do like a next Monday, if you want to do a Raw watch along, I got no issue with that.
Maybe we should try something along those lines since we did AEW.
Yeah,
because like a WWE one. Because I don't think I could subject myself to another AEW.
Yeah,
it was rough. It was rough. Like my wife just said, she goes, "No, we can't."
I get through it because I sit there and play MLB The Show while I'm watching it, so at least I'm occupied.
Oh, so it's just fucking ambient noise.
Yeah,
it is for you. Yeah, so you're not even paying attention to it.
I didn't pay attention to it. I can care less.
Now, in terms of NXT TNA news, the only NXT news that I kind of saw and was like, all right, Roxanne Perez will be in an Elimination Chamber qualifying match this Monday on Raw.
Yes,
right? That was announced. So I assume she's making her transition to the main roster very shortly.
Oh,
and maybe Malik, you might be interested in this as well. Joe Hendry had suggested on the Chris Van Vliet show that WWE 2K should do a TNA download pack for the game. And at first I was like, man, then I thought to myself, like, well, you know what? That actually might not be bad if you get guys like Abyss, guys who are working for the company right now as like agents and shit, like a
Petey Williams.
Yeah, like that'd be a cool little down, like Joe Hendry in it and a couple other guys.
Sheik Abdul Bashir, aka Davari. He's there, bro. What do you want me to say?
You want to know? They have the music, the Hardys,
the Hardy Boys, yeah. The Hardys.
Give us a throwback AJ Styles when he was in the biker shorts.
Yeah.
Ready to fly.
Yeah, you're talking about that old school the TNA song and have his theme song in the game.
Yeah,
have their two songs in the game. Because let me tell you something. This was in 2K.
Say his name and he appears.
I'm in. I'm in. But like I said, what do you think? Do you think they would do something like that, Malik? Because you're more of the avid.
I feel like they could if they really wanted to, and as long as there's like a agreement on all sides, it's doable.
Yeah,
Because
I would like
even
that.
with you know new like people either making their return or newer people being asked to the roster, like Jordan Grace is part of WWE now. I
Mhm.
expect her to be a DLC by because now the DLC they spread it out. It's not
Right.
every month.
It's not
It's
every
like
month.
every
Yeah.
2 months.
Okay.
So you can wind up having Jordan Grace, even though you have to wait that long, all the way in November.
Mm. Yeah. So, and you know what's funny? I just realized you just said it. A classic AJ Styles.
Yeah.
I would see a classic Chris Sabin, a classic
Yeah.
Alex
Alex
Shelley.
Shelley. Yeah.
Yeah, I would see like what if you did like an X Division downloadable pack and it had like AJ in his prime and all these other guys. The one I would love to see, and obviously you can't because he's in AEW, is I would love to see Chris Daniels involved in that TNA and
No,
Joe.
that would have been that definitely would have been cool.
Yeah.
That would be
You could do it that way. You could throw in like you said, like you have the Dudleys.
Yeah.
Because the Dudleys were in it. Dudleys work now with
Bully Ray.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That was his big prominent gimmick was in the TNA was Bully Ray.
Yep.
Yes. And you better put that Scott Steiner math promo in there.
It's like one of the backstage cuts.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Row Keeper also believes.
I believe in Joe Hendry.
I gotta say I liked Hendry was doing an interview and he was talking about like meeting guys at Royal Rumble, talked about Cody. He's like, I don't want to get into certain things. He's like, I had a very nice conversation with John Cena, and Tony, you and I were talking about this before we went on the air. And Hendry said that basically Cena told him, if you want a match to happen, you have to make it happen. And I think, and listen, Joe Hendry's as over as anybody right now. But like I think if done the right way, if we get Cena winning the title at some point, I could see Cena doing one of his open challenges, and Joe Hendry walks out. Now you have the WWE champion and the TNA champion in a ring together,
and it would be worth it. Like,
yes,
it would prominently highlight TNA wrestling.
Yes,
it would highlight Joe Hendry, and it would show like the here's the thing. I said when AEW did it, they were just like Kenny Omega's going to walk in there and win all the belts, take it or leave it, essentially, right? Whereas I think John Cena he would probably win. Hendry wouldn't win, but John would give him because John's big match. John still even to this day, right? He would make it look good. Like he would make it be like, oh, Joe Hendry, I thought you could have won that match. I think
it would have a similar feel as to when Triple H went against Taz.
Yeah.
Especially like everyone's like, oh, he buried Taz. Everyone just hated the reign of Triple H, so they look for a reason. But if you watch that match, like Taz looked good in that match. It's not like Taz looked like shit.
That was the thing. I think a lot of us were in our mark phase when Triple H was doing that reign of terror shit, so we didn't want to see past it.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I was a big Triple H guy there, so I was all for it.
I always tell people like Triple H, man, he's a ring general. He's the first ring general. Like, that's why I was referred to him as the very first. So he could never do any wrong with me. Like I was like, yeah, you put the belt on him because it's like Old Faithful. You know what you're getting.
You know what you're getting. Yeah.
You put that belt on Triple H, you know you're going to get good matches, you're going to get good storylines, and he's going to commit to everything. And that's all you could ask for in a main guy. And same thing would say John Cena's the same way, Roman Reigns is the same way, Seth Rollins. I just watched the thing about Seth where they almost let him go. Because Terry Taylor was like, he's not ready. And Triple H was like, do you really want this or do I got to let you go? And shit like that. But, dude, they've come a long way. Because I just remember watching all this shit. And I'm like, these guys suck. This wrestling is the worst. And now I'm like, hey, all right. Now you got it. You figured it out. Like, all right. But I don't know. I want to see downloadable packs. I would love the WWE to get to a level where it's New Japan DLC. Even AEW, like an AEW DLC. It'd be cool if WWE became like that. Like you don't have to buy an AEW game anymore because in a couple of months or whatever, if you pay for the season pass or whatever, it is, buy it separately. You could just download and I'm not talking about the entire AEW roster. You just take the top guys, your Kenny Omegas, your Will Ospreys, all those guys that you'll probably never see in WWE, and you just make it a DLC. And I guarantee you, people will clamor for that shit. They will clamor, and if you clean up the universe mode some more, right? And you fucking have it to where you can just do promos, you could set up storylines, you could do all that stuff more in depth than what it kind of is now. Man, I'm telling you, I always come up with this idea where it's called, obviously you can't call it this no more because he's a fucking animal, but you call it Vince mode, which would be like God mode, and you could literally set whatever you want. So if you want this guy to run out and attack this guy, you can, because you're playing in Vince mode. What do you call it? Triple H mode at this point, right? I think that should be a function in the universe mode game. So you can literally set up a promotion like a promoter, like Vince McMahon would. I think that should be where the game goes with all that kind of DLC. Obviously it'll never happen, but if it did, I would love it.
The most interesting thing, because you mentioned NXT, and I feel like there's not really much to go on.
Yeah.
On the show, TNA, their standout match was the Hardy Boys teamed up with Leon Slater.
Okay.
That's the dude that does the Swanton 450 against the System. That was a pretty solid match, and I want to believe Josh Alexander's going to WWE because he said his last match is happening this week, and he'll be taking on Eric Young in his last match in TNA. So I'm like, I want to believe you're gonna go to WWE and you may show up at NXT Vengeance Day. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you think they team him with Ethan Page?
I don't know if they team him. I think we get the like a feud with them too that they, not to say they didn't have in TNA, but that's when Ethan Page was doing the whole kung fu gimmick and everything.
Yeah.
I think you get like a legit feud with them too.
It was something they tease, if anything.
Yeah, or yeah.
I know Josh Alexander sounds terrible on the mic. He's very bad on promos, but he's very good in the ring. So coming to NXT, maybe learning a little bit, speaking on the mic, I think Josh Alexander would be a fantastic addition to the WWE roster because he's very
absolutely.
Good.
Yes.
And we said it last week, and friend of ours, friends of the show, Santana more and more is starting to get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
You're starting
when
to see it.
When I saw him at House of Glory when he beat Cardona, and I just like
that's who we beat last week.
Granted, he was granted he was in New York. He was in his hometown. He was in Queens. Everybody was going bananas for him. I saw it then. I see him bulked up. You saw the work that he was doing. He's slowing it down while still maintaining some of that high flying lucha libre style, and he's really working on the mic. Like at the end of
my one issue, I'm not a fan of the finisher.
I don't like it neither.
Well, this clothesline.
Yeah,
it's something. It's something for him to do to everybody, though. That's the
right. But
he's
bulked up. But at the same time, I don't see a guy like him doing that as a finisher.
I think when he gets to WWE, it'll probably change. It'll probably be something he does to the smaller guys, guys his size. But he'll probably come up with a finish that he can do to like your Braun Strowmans and your Jacob, like the bigger guys that he's going to wind up working when he gets there. But I believe that he's on the fast track, and it's funny because I'll be the first person to admit that I'm wrong. I didn't see him.
Same.
I thought when he left AEW that was a mistake that he bounced on LAX that I didn't think. Like I don't know if he's going to have, but he has an idea and he believes in it. And he believes in himself, and that's all that you need. And I think it's starting to pay off for him. He carries himself like a superstar. Like I guess I've seen him come into buildings, and he carries himself like a superstar. He's learning the style. Like I said, I've filmed him enough on House of Glory now to make this kind of assessment of him. He will fit NXT will be a prime spot for that guy when he gets there, and I firmly believe that he could be an NXT world champion and eventually go to the main roster. But I think he's going to take that route. NXT, be the champion for a little bit, kind of like, how like most of these guys came through and they made like a name in NXT and then came up to the main roster. I think they're going to do that with him. And I think that's what he needs, because I think he needs a little bit more polishing, not much, just a little bit more. And I think NXT is the perfect place for that. But I firmly believe that he's got it. I think he's on the fast track for sure.
Are you guys ready to get to the big talk? Or it's just not big talk, but it's talk. Yeah. The WWE releases.
Yeah, not to say that you're never surprised when they release people. It just kind of came out of nowhere, right? They just released a bunch of people.
My mind was thinking after Mania would happen, you know?
Yeah. So I'm usually that's usually when it happens, right?
So,
Yeah.
so what I saw for a bunch of them, I can't name each one. But I know I've seen for at least Sonya, Lopez, and I think one other person. I forget who. Oh, I think it was Ellering. It's not as much them releasing them; it's that their contracts are about to expire and they're not renewing them.
Yeah.
So
I mean, a lot of the names that I read, I was just like, I know. I could see it. I see why you're releasing them. It wasn't like a name where you were like, I can't believe they let this guy go. Like,
yeah, to me, Isla Dawn is the only one that I was like, huh, like this is weird.
Paul Ellering is in his early 70s.
Yeah.
And
he was only there to pretty much still guide and be a mentor to AOP, even off camera.
My wife brought this up earlier in the show, and she said, "Should Karrion Kross be worried?"
No. I think the opposite.
Well, I do love what he's doing on Raw, where he goes up to Sami Zayn, and he's like kind of like planting seeds of doubt and shit like that in his head, and then just walking away.
Well, if you watch the thing somebody did, it's the Karrion Kross effect. Every time he interacts with someone, how they turn heel like a few months later, or like everything falls apart for them.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I like.
It's like the truth comes out. My thing is, everybody that he has gotten in their face and feuded with, though along the way they turn, he loses.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
I think right now it's the perfect thing. Go back to his old music. Like, you don't need the same entrance and everything, even though that entrance is one of the most badass entrances of all time.
Which one?
But without it being in black and white, it doesn't work.
Agreed. No, in black and white,
and without Scarlet, it doesn't work.
Right. You need it to be what it was in NXT.
Yeah.
And that's where it worked.
I think don't be surprised if that's where it goes, because Triple H is in charge. He probably gave him that little I forgot what the name of the faction. I always called them
Final Testament.
Yeah, I always called them Temu Judgment Day, because they were like,
no, there's no faction now. It's just him. So
now. But yeah, go
ahead, Tom.
I could kind of see that was happening when they moved the Wyatt Six over to SmackDown, because that's the only people they were feuding with. And I'm like, there's really no factions over on Raw for you to be feuding with. And hello, Rashad, thanks you for joining us, but I appreciate you, man. But I went once they sent the Wyatt Six over, I immediately thought, like, well, what are they going to do with them? Are they going to send them over too and continue that thing? And when they didn't, I just had a sneaky suspicion that at least Ellering and the Authors of Pain were going to get released, because they don't do nothing with them. Like, they don't do nothing with those guys.
Yeah. And I read the first time that Ellering got released or whatever, he basically asked for it because he didn't want to travel. Like, he was good with doing the NXT thing.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to have to travel all over the place because, like Malik said, he's 70 years old.
Yeah, no, it's come on.
And it doesn't make sense because Cross doesn't need a mouthpiece.
No. He's very good on mic.
Ellering didn't really do anything. Yes.
Yeah.
Listen, I made the not having two Latinas joke. You don't need two of the same people in a faction with Scarlett and Ellering.
No, yeah, there's too many managers. It was too. I felt like they just kind of put all of them together, probably because they were like, listen, we don't have nothing for you guys. Just let's see how Karrion Kross can do it as the leader of a faction. I don't like those mid-card factions. They annoy me. I don't know why, because they usually just kind of flutter out, just ends. They don't have like a thing. And when they
don't like American Made, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. It's funny you bring that up. It's really funny you bring that up because we're talking about releases, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so hear me out here, okay? So Chad Gable needs to go study and go learn about luchadors, right?
Yeah,
he needs to go to the dark arts. Yeah. Funny enough, a guy whose contract officially ran out today and is now a free agent by the name of Aleister Black runs a wrestling school, and the name of it is the Dark Arts Academy.
Yeah, oh no, that's definitely where he's going. That's definitely where he's going. That's definitely where I get that these are all Triple H guys.
Yes.
Okay. I see. I'm sorry to cut you off, Tony. I see where you're going with this, but I'm also saying to myself, you move Zelina to SmackDown. Everybody knows, with the exception of two people who are not married but in a relationship, Ludwig Kaiser and Tiffany Stratton, they're on different shows. These two are married. Alistair Black, Malachi Black, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah,
He's married to Selena Vega. I'm like, are they really going to have them on separate shows?
I mean, you could. I don't. I'm sure. Listen, they're living separate lives now, kind of.
But
True.
here's the thing too. You bring him on Raw for a month, you transfer him over to SmackDown at any point,
Yeah.
at any time. Like
You
I
do a
just think
trade.
you do a thing where he comes in, he teaches this guy the dark arts of Lucha Libre, whatever that means, and then he kindly goes off to SmackDown, where you could just put him there because SmackDown is sorely lacking in like I don't want to say star power, but in like just good overall talent. At this
I'm like,
point.
they just got Drew McIntyre. I forgot that was one of the things that also.
When I
transpired.
saw that on SmackDown, I was like, "That's good." Drew. This I think Drew will flourish here.
How is Tony Khan gonna feel when, especially since this whole it's about Lucha Libre and stuff, when it's Penta versus Aleister Black at WrestleMania?
I know. But that's the thing too. Like he had all of these talents,
Yes,
including CM Punk. He had them all,
including Cody Rhodes.
He had them all. He had them all, and they all.
By the way, I'm calling it now. I'm letting you know now, right? This is going way too far in advance. In July, right? They have whatever the AEW All In, the Texas show. I think the same night. I think the same night WWE is doing Saturday Night Main Events.
Correct.
Wow.
I will not be shocked if we have a match where it's Cody Rhodes and CM Punk versus two other guys, or it's Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk on that show.
Bro,
just to be petty, I can
Just
see
to
that.
be petty.
Yeah, bro, every time I watch stuff like that, I'm like, yo, Triple H just subtly takes shots.
Yeah.
He just started. He's like, oh, how about we do a main event with all of their guys and just kind of show that we can do better. Yeah.
They did Dick with Ethan Page. Nothing. In AEW.
Yeah.
Skyrocketed and became NXT champion in his fourth match.
I know.
Yes, and he's now in a feud with someone that really they're elevating.
Yeah, I know.
So like the guy just walked in and becomes something. Like it was Ethan Page we thought that we were gonna get.
Yeah, he literally, Rollkeeper had them all.
Yes,
He had them all, and he blew it because he's a mark that wanted to just play video game wrestling with real people. That's all it is. That's like if me and Malik. That's like no. It's just he's a moron. That's like when me and Malik decide tomorrow we want to play GM mode, and we just start booking fantasy. That's exactly what Tony Khan is. Just come to life. That's all.
Yeah, because
of I know you mentioned Cedric. Of all the people released, who do we see any of these? Do we see any of them, or if all of them going to AEW now?
Handful, not all of them.
No,
a handful.
I mean, if Elektra Lopez still has a good rapport with them, she was there in the beginning days of AEW and sitting at ringside. So who knows? I mean, Tony Khan got to catch them all, and they managed to get out of their Pokeballs and be gone.
That's the truth, bud. Because he literally had them all.
And I'm going to bring up AEW one more time. My apologies. You see who the new shiny toy is, right? Do we see what's going on? Who the new shiny toy is in AEW? Megan Bain.
Oh. Yeah.
Because we are beating her to death already.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to the releases. I think Sonya possibly ends up there.
Was there any releases where you were like, oh, I didn't expect that one?
Okay, Sonya Deville was kind of a small surprise because she had just came back, maybe a year ago?
The only reason I agree with you is because she had just done a press tour for them. She literally was on she did the rounds on every radio show, TV show, podcast, promoting
Royal Rumble,
and then they just let her go. But why would you waste your money sending her out on a press junket?
She was the only one where I said, "Oh shit!" When I saw Blair Davenport, I said, "Yeah, let her go." She had terrible matches with Naomi, and there was never to be seen again.
Yeah.
Letting go Elektra Lopez.
Do you think Naomi went back there and was like, she's not getting it? You think maybe?
Probably, maybe.
Yeah. Because the most recent thing with her they said was that she might do something where she was part of Chelsea's cabinet.
I think they had a match on Speed and it just didn't go well, and you could actually see Naomi getting frustrated. I don't watch Speed. It was just a clip that I saw because I've only seen the Speed matches while I'm there in the arena. I do not go.
Yeah.
There's probably one match that I will suggest you see, and it was Chad Gable up against Regal's son, Charlie Dempsey. That's the only match I go out of your way to see that.
Buddy, anytime you tell me that guy's involved, I'll go watch it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Chad Gable, to me, It's literally Triple H is in the locker room and Chad Gable's walking. He's like, "Yo, Chad, come here for a second." And he's like, "What's up, Trips? What's up, Paul? What do you need?" He goes, "You're Kurt Angle now." He's like, "What? You're Kurt Angle now. That's your thing." Even his theme song, they do "You Suck." He's like, "You're Kurt Angle now."
You know what I compare that to? I used to like when Jeff Hardy would always get in trouble, get suspended, and I like Shelton Benjamin goes into Vince's office. Vince, I got this great idea for a ladder spot. Like we're gonna do this, and the guy's gonna jump off and flip off. Well, Shelton, funny thing just happened. Jeff got suspended, and we need somebody to do that.
Yeah.
You're the guy.
You see, I was watching this thing with Austin Theory. He was telling a story on Chris Van Vliet. They were talking about the F5 off the pod.
Yeah.
And he's like, Vince comes up from behind me and goes, "I want you to take that." And he's like, "I can't say no to Vince." And then like he goes, Michael Hayes is like, "Are you sure you want to take that spot? You don't have to." And he's like, Vince came up to behind me, he was like, "I want you to take that."
Why?
Oh, God damn, dude.
Oh man, but yeah, for me it was just Isla Dawn was the only one because I was like, all right, she was just tag champ. Like I don't know.
That's because you were stepping for her. I'm sorry. I had a little chest cold.
I have a thing that I want to run into her at Disney and just be like, oh hi, you know.
I have another drop before that. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Delusional thoughts from Fantasy Island.
Oh, it's interesting. I listen. Do you feel bad when anybody loses their job? Yes,
of course.
I'm sure most of them will bounce back. They'll be fine. They'll just, suck all the money they can out of the indies.
I was just gonna say, here's the good thing about right now. You have AEW, you have TNA, you have MLW, you have NWA,
New Japan.
you got New Japan. There's plenty of places for people to go.
You can go to House of Glory.
Yeah, House of Glory. Yeah.
A spot where they just announced that dummy Mercedes Monet.
Oh.
She's gonna be at their next show. Yeah,
that'll put butts in seats.
Yeah, did you see that? Did you collectively groan at the same exact time? Oh my God! On that.
Here's the thing: there are people out there that are. You say it the way you say it, and I'm like, it's gonna happen. A House of Glory. It's not somebody you see that often. And for me, what it is that I think, what it is for me is that character is one thing. The actual human being, I feel like, is a bit of a jerk. That's just me.
No, I agree.
Just looking at it from afar.
I was I love that answer. I was watching listening to the radio. She was on the radio on WFAN. They were promoting Grand Slam in Queens at the time. And listening to her speak, it was one of those things where I turned it off a couple minutes in because I started throwing up in my mouth because it was like one of those things where I'm not a fucking mark. Obviously, I know what's a work and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
So to hear her speak, it's one of those things like, oh wow, you really buy your own bullshit. Like it was one of those like, yo, you're really in that fantasy world. You're in that bubble, and you buy all the bullshit that's coming out of your mouth right now. It was one of those things. I was like, man, I don't understand where it happened. But
you heard it first, folks. Not even Tony wanted to hear Mercedes moan.
I would never want to hear that.
I'll give you a crazy one too. And listen, I know I've been shitting on him every week.
I don't want to.
This isn't me trying to take a shot at him, okay?
Yeah.
If you listen to Jericho on the Chris Van Vliet show,
don't get me started on that one, boy.
Really?
Oh no! No!
This was like, listen, like I said, I like to shit on Jericho, but I know Jericho deserves his props for times.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's drinking nowadays. I don't know if all the hair dye has gotten to him. I don't know what it is. But if you want to talk about like a Mount Rushmore to him, it's just him on each one of them.
Get out of here, really?
That's how it comes off to me.
He's that crazy, huh?
He stated that people in the business should be thanking him for the reason why there's such a bump up in pay. And, there was that. There was him saying he was doing his job while being a heel. And I'm like, you're the heel that not everybody's like, cheering, everybody's booing to be like, we hate this man. We can't stand you because you're just annoying right now. And the whole learning true gimmick is just not, to me, it's just not something that's working.
Again, it's another thing where it's like I'm being paid by Tony Khan, so I'm gonna milk this nut for everything that it's worth. And I'm gonna take every ounce of money out of this guy's hand because he's gonna pay me. And as long as I'm on TV, he has to pay me.
Doesn't he have like the Undertaker contract, which would be similar? Like, did he sign for 10 years?
He signed for a while.
Yeah.
But like I said, he likes the freedom. You're going back to WWE, there ain't no freedom there, and he knows that it's like dead end. You would just.
That was another comment he made where he was like, "Oh, if they asked me to be in the Hall of Fame, I wouldn't do it."
Here we go.
Like, well, come on. Like, we get it. It's not a real Hall of Fame. We understand that.
It seems as though Christopher's getting senile in his old age. It seems that's what's happening.
Quite possibly.
Yeah, I think that's what's starting to happen. I think the years of I don't know if he still does like out, if he's still drinking or whatever he's doing. I think he lives in a fantasy world where he thinks that he's the. I remember him talking shit on somebody's podcast about CM Punk claiming to be the locker room leader, and he like laughed in his face. And then it's like at the same time, it's like I think they'd laugh in your face, pal. Like don't you laugh at CM Punk? I don't think anybody would consider Jericho a locker room leader. And if AEW is the place where he feels he's the locker room leader, then you're doing a very shitty job as a leader because that locker room is in shambles.
Yeah, and that brings it to where when Edge, this is like I think right around the time Punk left, and Edge was only there like literally like 2 weeks, and had to come out and cut a promo about like what it's like to be in the back and stuff like that. And I'm sitting there, and for once I'm not shitting on Edge. I'm like, this guy shouldn't be doing this. He's just got here. This is where Jericho needs to step up, or Moxley needs to step up.
And they're not, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I feel like somebody said, "Oh, Moxley should go back to WWE." He shouldn't. I really don't see anything there for him, and I don't see why WWE would need him.
They don't need him.
Yeah, I don't see why they would need him. Same thing with they don't need Chris Jericho. The only AEW wrestlers I would see that I think they should consider would be guys like Powerhouse Hobbs, like the young talent that you can probably develop into something special. And I see something special with guys like Hobbs. And I mean, I know Hook is annoying when he speaks, but I can see it with Hook too. Like if you brought Hook in, I could see him being something. I mean, that may not be a WWE champion, but something like a good Intercontinental.
I know the language thing, even though I don't know what kind of English he speaks. I think Takeshita,
yeah, that guy, I could see him for sure. Like I said, they're younger talent that they're already starting to take. Like they take the Page
and the one guy that I think deserves a second chance is Big Cass.
There are guys that are on TV that are not even on TV. That you're like wondering what happened to them. Why aren't they on? Is it an injury? Is it health related? Is it this? Is it that?
Where's Miro?
He's been gone. Guy. Who did he last feud with?
Hobbs.
I can't even. Hobbs, right? And then never to be seen again. It's been well over a year.
Either Hobbs or it might have been Andrade, and that's when they were doing the whole Lana thing. Yes, there's so
place to grow. Facts, dude.
Agreed.
Facts. They just need the right place, and I think the AEW is definitely not the right place.
Ricky Starks.
Ricky Starks is another one. Yes, Ricky Starks is another one. I really believe that he would flourish at NXT.
Being under the tutelage of WWE, Wardlow still has a chance.
I do. I agree.
Agreed.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
I can't think of anybody else because it's like
I even think, and as crazy as this sounds, if you brought over Daniel Garcia, I think with a little bit of time in NXT could develop something. I mean, I'll
take him over Wheeler Useless.
Yeah,
I'll take him over Wheeler Useless.
Yeah, no,
agreed.
Yeah, Wheeler Yuta is the worst.
Useless.
Exactly, useless. Boys, that's all the time we have today, man. I appreciate you guys hanging out and talking some wrestling. I appreciate everybody coming through and hanging out and listen to us ramble.
And I humbly apologize to my co-hosts, to our producer, and to you, the fans, for talking so much about AEW.
Apology accepted.
Like I really went through my notes to read that whole show.
I know you did,
and now I'm depressed.
I know. I know.
Hey, real quick. Speaking of AEW, I want to bring up one.
He's turning on me.
We're all very secure men. Can I just say how great looking Bobby Lashley is in a suit?
Dude, they look like professionals.
Yes.
They look like professionals. Yeah.
Yes. Like you see those guys walk in a room and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, you're like, oh fuck. When did
Bobby
the,
Lashley could be the real bad guy in like a Van Damme movie.
By the
back
way,
in
no,
80s.
but for Disney in a live action movie, if they had it,
He would be Stitch, Lilo and Stitch. He would be
yes, there you go.
yes.
He would be that bodyguard in that movie. Bubbles, is it?
The agent.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, he'd be perfect for that.
yeah, knowing them, they'll give that to Terry Crews, though, probably.
Or The Rock, yeah. It's just somehow.
So, and The Rock will tell them, "I can't lose to Lilo. It's got to be a draw."
I can't believe that's a real thing in his contract. It's
I know. I said
Oh.
something. I was talking to somebody. I forget who it was, and they were talking. Oh, Rock's a good actor, and I said, "What fucking planet are you living on? He's a good actor. Anybody who's got to put in their contract that they're not going to lose to Superman it's fucking insanity." And then like they were like, "Well, you know, Black Adam's got magic and shit." It doesn't matter. He's not beating Superman. It doesn't matter. And the fact that Rock put that in his contract that he had to like tie with Superman, he can't lose. Just blew my mind. One of these companies needs to figure it out. Too much talent being wasted sitting in a locker room.
I agree with that statement.
Shot facts, but it's a great idea, but failed execution. Yes, that is a very good way of putting it. And he's only getting worse every week. He's failing more and more. He's not getting it.
Hey
and that's
guys,
the thing.
that's where the best. That's where the best come to wrestle.
On that note, catch Malik over on his Instagram at I Love Wrestling History. Where there you'll see great moments in wrestling history from all aspects of pro wrestling, not just WWE.
Like today, however, I'm going to mention WWE. Kane takes on X-Pac and Triple H, and also he gets revenge on Tori, which took place 25 years ago today.
Oh goddamn! Please.
That's when he tombstones her finally.
Yes, I will be posting that very shortly. Actually,
goddamn. I feel so old when you say stuff. That's 25 years ago. It's like,
gotta hit you with those hard facts.
Man, my wife was 5 years old.
Oh shit!
I just want you to know that. Thank you so much, Roadkeeper. Like I said, catch Malik over at I Love Wrestling History on his Instagram. It's great stuff. Catch Greco at Greco Club on his Instagram. Catch me at Legend Series if you already have. Most of you guys already followed me, the toy shit. And then follow False Finish Productions and Spot Monkey Radio. There's an Instagram. I don't have the access to it, but go ahead and follow it anyway. It's there. I appreciate it if you do. This Wednesday at 2 p.m. sharp, I will be back at it with the feed. I'm going to be looking over WrestleZone and the Wrestling Observer and seeing what kind of nonsense good old Uncle Dave has been spewing.
And I will be pulling up in the comments.
You may. Please do.
I will be pulling up in the comments just to see. Yeah. Because anything that's related to Dave Meltzer, that story, I just have to go, why?
Yeah. So I'm interested to do it. It's going to be a good time. And, of course, Tony's takes this week is CM Punk having the best run of his career. Spoiler alert, the answer is yes. But that's just my opinion. Like I said, it's up to you. The only other one I would say it wouldn't surpass, and that was only because my favorite version of CM Punk was that straight edge savior.
That was good.
The long hair and the beard, that's my all-time favorite version of CM
If
Punk.
only he had the title then.
I know. Yeah, I know. That was bring back Lucha Underground.
Let me tell you something. Bring it back to Netflix so I could watch it. Listen, when my mom used to watch it religiously, I never did. I was just like, what are you watching? Now I regret it. They had it on Netflix for like 2 months, and I was like, oh, I'm finally going to watch it. I watch the first episode, goes back to the next day, gone.
Gone. Yeah, fucking A, man. That was an interesting concept where they made it like a movie and the way it was filmed with the GM guy and whatever the fuck. It was a very interesting concept. But that's all the time we have. Like I said, catch us next Monday, 10:30 a.m. on your dial. We'll be back at it with Spot Monkey Radio. The world never stops when it comes to pro wrestling. So until then, people, please and thank you. Keep kayfabe. And as always, be good to yourselves and each other.